Welcome to the Community Collective podcast. I'm Johnny B. Good, the flip-flop agent, and I've partnered with the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce to bring you the stories that shape our local communities. In our third season, our focus is about connecting, learning, and celebrating the voices that make our communities unique. Join us during this third season as we engage in thoughtful conversations and insightful moments. This podcast is commercial-free and supported by both myself, my co-host, and our guests. We would be so appreciative if you could like, share, and subscribe as we continue having conversations that matter, and cannot thank you enough for taking the time to listen.
Hello, and welcome to a new edition in a new year of the Community Collective Podcast. I am Travis Howe, the Executive Director of the Davison Area Chamber of Commerce, and I am very excited today to start off this new year of 2024 with one of my friends, Beth Kendrick. Beth, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Yes, you are the very first one for this year. All the pressure's on you to kick off the year great for us on the podcast.
I was just going to say, no pressure. I'm excited to be here, though. This is exciting.
Yeah, good. Just to fill everyone in, Beth owns Kendrick Sports Training in Davison. And so we will be covering a little bit about that and a little bit about Beth's background. So, Beth, are you ready for the first tough question of the day?
I am. Give it to me. Let's hear it.
All right. So, Beth, with your extensive experience in soccer training and strength conditioning, can you share your unique coaching philosophy and how it has evolved over your career?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I actually get this question quite often of what's my coaching philosophy? And I would say it's just developing each athlete as a whole. Most people think it's just come in there and teach the sport and then move on, but it's not. Really focusing on building the progress within each athlete, from building new habits, obviously building the skill in the sport that they're looking for, but building confidence and building a different mind frame, and developing the mind frame to be able to put goals into place. I think just making sure each athlete is taking away something that they learn each and every training session, whether it's within that sport or just in life in general, to be able to implement that, I think is huge. And as far as how is it involved? I would say just gaining more and more experience with different ages of athletes and learning how much the sport can play a role in everyday life for kids. I think people miss that factor, and it could really play a huge part in their lives.
Well, I grew up myself playing soccer. My parents got me started at a really young age, so I've always loved it. Played through high school and college, and it was one of those things that when you interact with different coaches, you definitely learn how they were taught or what trainings they've gone through, or what the focus is for them. And I feel like each of those opportunities where I was with a different coach over the years, from travel soccer and on, that it made me a better player because I was constantly being challenged. And my coach said, all right, here's your training schedule for the summer. I'm not going to see you for 2 months. Go do it. And I expect you to do that, which is, and I know you're seeing it at different levels. Now, through your training and conditioning certifications, what type of training or certifications have you gotten over the years?
Oh gosh. I have many years of just coaching in general, but then I started to dive into the education piece, where it comes with child development. It comes with there's the thing with a whole nother world of education that most people don't know about. It's the US licensing through US Soccer. And there's youth, there's high school, there's college, all different levels. And I went and obtained my C license. So it starts at a grassroots level, which is D, goes to C, B, and A. And I have a C license, but it just teaches, you go through aspects of learning behavior, learning how to connect, managing the environment, managing the player, looking for signs of their mental awareness, like where are they at? How was their day? Honesty, you should be able to tell right away where their mind is when they come to training. Being able to how to connect to a player, where they have to connect to us too as coaches and as trainers. So it's like being able to adapt to different personalities and different beliefs and different connections that way. So definitely have hit all the education pieces to be able to not just connect obviously with the sport and teach the sport, but how to connect with the kids as well.
Yeah, and that's important. I feel as a parent, I get used to interacting with my two kids. They're both different from each other, but you're going into coaching, you have a wide variety of kids from a wide variety of backgrounds.
Hmm.
And so I can only imagine the challenges that come with that because each player develops at a different speed, or they maybe have more experience than someone else that's on the team. And your goal is to get them to gel as one unit and play together and have fun and be successful with what they're doing. So I can imagine that
Yeah,
something like getting a child development focus and that education side is crucial.
it's definitely been eye-opening, and very helpful in many aspects for sure.
And I did a little bit of coaching years ago because it's one of those ones where I could coach and still be in the sport, but don't have to be completely in shape. And so I know I did some of the very lower level coaching licenses, and it really does open your eyes to like I sit there and think, oh my, this is what my coach had to go through, or this is a lot harder than I expected to be because
Yeah.
there
Yep.
I think I did a goalkeeping like license, and I am a short guy who does not like a soccer ball to be shot at me in a goal. And so I hated it, but it was a great experience because now I know what my friends went through when they were
Oh,
stuck in the
yeah.
goal.
You definitely can relate, that's for sure.
This leads into our next question. So, how do you believe your training programs at Kendrick Sports Training, especially the small group and team training, contribute to the holistic development of young athletes?
So, really good question. And like I said before, it contributes because sports can play such a big role in kids' lives. I know for me, it is for myself as an example, it was my outlet growing up. It was something where I showed up on the field and I forgot about school drama or homework drama or what's going on in life or any of my friend situations or just life in general. I relaxed. I played soccer. I loved it. I had fun doing it. I still do to this day. So it just connects with giving kids a break. It's relieving for them. It's exciting for them. It's a way to connect and give them different areas when they see that they've hit a goal or they see if they've hit their progress in the sport. You see them light up, and that's what's worth it to me. That alone just tells me they're in the right place, and it gives them a sense of confidence that they might take with them in everyday life back to school or back to their friends or back to their parents. It's definitely like a mood changer. It's mental toughness that can teach in everyday life, and I think it's really good aspect to have.
No, and that's amazing. And I know for me, it was, I played with the same group of kids for a while, but needed that extra challenge. So getting that extra training or getting experiences I'm not used to was made me a better player because it made me out of my comfort zone to
Hmm.
become a stronger athlete, but then also introduced me to new people that I wasn't used to playing with and new
For
styles.
sure.
I've seen it on social media and I've talked to you and seen your flyers, but you over there at Kendrick Sports Training, you offer a lot of sports that kids and young adults can come into and try out or get better at what they're doing. So what are you offering? What type of sports and trainings are you offering there?
Yeah, so we definitely do a wide variety. I know some of the younger ages, some kids don't know if they like a sport yet. They haven't had a chance to try it. So that's why we want to stay and give options for every sport. But we have softball and baseball and volleyball. We have trainers for all of those, meaning if they're looking for personal training, if they're looking for small group training, if they're looking to bring their teams in, then train with the trainers are there to provide that. We have soccer, we have basketball, we have small group strength and conditioning, speed and agility. We just implemented a vertical jump training program that's been amazing. That's for all athletes just working on strength and core and vertical jumping, power, all that good stuff. We are definitely getting into the conditioning side of things for spring sports coming up. Summer camps, spring camps, we have a lot. So we definitely just want to be able to give that variety for kids to be able to try.
Wow, that is amazing. And I will say, I really wish I had vertical like training when I was younger. I think my vertical is probably 2 or 3 inches. Nothing too impressive, never has been. Beth, you are offering such a wide variety for people in our area. And this is something especially that you have that indoor side of things that year round, when it's hot outside or if it's snowing, you're still open and you're offering anything like this for athletes and
Yeah.
individuals
Yep.
like wanting to challenge themselves, which is great.
Yeah. That was a big goal of mine growing up is I like all sports. My father's daughter, who was an athlete and he was an athlete and he loves sports. So I just come by it honestly. And I just wanted, if I could play everything, I would have played everything, but my body can only take so much. But I wanted to be able to offer as much as possible for athletes. And that as a coach, I love multi-sport athletes. It just develops the whole athlete and it gives them challenging atmosphere, challenging experiences, and it supports other sports. So I just wanted to be able to provide that.
Yeah. Well, and that leads us into another great question. You mentioned coaching. Could you discuss some of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of coaching at multiple levels? So you coach competitive teams, I believe, at Cap City Athletic, Mason High School varsity girls, and just recently it was announced that you are a new assistant coach at Albion College. So, oh my gosh. So this is exciting. Once again, another wide variety of what's going on. But fill us in on some of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of each of these levels.
Oh, that is a really good question. So I would say the most challenging part would be one, they're all high school girl ages. So with that comes a lot of emotional differences, but being able to change my coaching direction and my expectation and my standards within the age groups. That's most difficult for me personally. Going from at Cap City, I have some of the younger kids, middle school ages, whereas at Mason at the varsity level, we have juniors, seniors, some sophomores, and then going to the college level where I can hold high expectations, I can hold standards, I can get on them a little tougher. But when I leave Albion and go to Cap City, I have to change my mind and my thinking to where they're there to learn and teach the game. And I have to change my expectations where I can't hold them at the Albion standard. So that would be the most difficult and challenging aspect to that. The rewarding part of things, I would say, would be seeing the progress at each level. Each level has different goals that we set. So seeing my middle school girls reach a goal is different than my Albion college girls, where our goal is maybe to win a championship, to where my middle schoolers might be like, let's set these minor goals to where we're building as a team and as an individual. So it's totally different, but it's so rewarding to see the different ages.
Well, and I would think that as a parent on one of your teams, I would be excited to see you implement the development side and at each level. You're coaching college, but there's aspects that you could go into at Cap City and kind of show how to develop and grow to get ready for that high school level. And those high school girls that had that goal, I really want to play college. And now here's a coach that they have that has that experience. And as a parent, I would be excited to have my child have that opportunity to just experience that challenge and development and just have someone that can really focus on them as a whole and hopefully a future. It's something I feel athletes don't ever give up being an athlete. You might change what you do. It might be when we're younger, we can be a little bit harder on our bodies and more aggressive. Sure. And then you get older and, I'm going to go walk my dog today for a couple miles for exercise. And it is, but you don't ever lose that. I think that competitive side. And I think even for you as a coach, I'm sure you have to relish that idea of, man, I have all these levels and there's different challenges with each of them, but there's also so many rewards that I can be part of all these lives that I'm coaching.
Yep. And I think another rewarding aspect would be just to be a mentor to all these young girls and these women at the college level It's just they come to me and ask questions that sometimes are outside of soccer. It's how could I do this at school? Or I have a job
Yes.
question, or my middle schoolers, or how can I get better at this skill, or something so minor, but it's just being a mentor to, I think I have 100+ kids right now that I coach. So
Oh,
it's
yes.
definitely rewarding for sure.
Yeah. And I know when I was at college, you think about it as an athlete, you are away from your family probably for the first time. And the person you probably spend the most time with outside of friends is your soccer coach.
For
For
sure.
me, we always got the campus 2 weeks before everybody and
Yep.
had 2-day practices for a couple hours and
Yep.
fitness and conditioning. And it was our coaches that were always there, whether we liked to be around them all the time or not. But it's someone that they're gonna be part of your life for possibly 4 years there.
Right.
And yeah, I love that. I love that you see your role as not only just a coach, but as someone that is a mentor that can help them through so many challenges that they're facing, probably for the first time at each
Right.
of these levels, actually. In your 15 years as a soccer coach, what significant changes have you seen in the training techniques in athlete preparation for anything?
Ooh. The biggest thing, or the most significant change I would say, would be definitely implementing mental health into sports. When I played and grew up, it wasn't a huge thing. It wasn't something that we talked about. It wasn't something that we made time for as an athlete. And I think now it's so in tune and so popular, and it's okay. And I think it's noticeably making a change with student athletes that mental health is important. And I think seeing that nowadays is huge. And it makes me so happy to be able to talk about it and support it and it be okay. That would be definitely the biggest thing within sports that we're making time for as coaches and as in organizations. And I think it's huge.
Yeah, not only in society, but now you're getting down to where you're with small groups as you're coaching
Mhm.
them. And and you know it, you're an athlete and you've seen the challenges that you faced over the years, whether it's an injury or even I remember as a player, the first time in my head that like my coach subbed me out because I wasn't playing well enough. And
Mhm.
now as an older, it makes sense. You need the best
Yep.
team out there to do well. But in my head, I'm like, I didn't know how to handle that as like a high
Exactly.
schooler. And I was like, okay, I'm on this travel team. I'm expected that I need to be out there playing. Why did you take me
Exactly.
out? But there's so many other mental health issues that are out there. And what I mentioned are small things. But I'm glad you brought that up because you're not only out there to get in shape and play games and go through the drill process and become friends with everyone, but you're also there to support each other as teammates, especially a coach. I feel like the coach is that central figure that is always there, always instructing you, whether you're on a travel team, high school team, or college team. That coach is that central figure that everyone can relate to and always sees all the time. So I'm glad you brought up mental health because it is. It's such an
Yeah.
important thing everywhere.
Yeah, and it's so much more than sports. I know some people say it's just a game, but it's not. To most kids, most athletes that want to make it to the next level, it's so much more. And especially like you said, injuries, how to be a good teammate, how to be a supportive teammate, how to focus on yourself as well as being the best that you can be, but being a good teammate. There's so many aspects to mental health in sports. I'm just happy that it's now a thing.
Yeah, and I think that also relates to what you're doing over at Kendrick Sports. You're creating a positive, safe atmosphere for athletes to go and to one enjoy themselves, but then also know that they're going to be well taken care of in a good environment to become better at what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
So, what advice would you give to someone aspiring to become a sports coach or a young athlete looking to excel in their sport?
Ooh, that's a good question too. My biggest thing would be, I had a mentor once ask me this, and this would be my advice to anybody as well, would be know your why. Why do you want to be a coach? And most people will say, because I like the sport. But no, like, why really? Think about it. Why do you want to be a coach, or why do you want to excel in that sport? Because it goes deep, it goes deeper than what most people think. I my why is because I want to be able to be a mentor and develop the athlete as a whole. Back to my philosophy is it's so much more than a sport. It plays a factor in everyday life. And I want to be the pathway to the next generation, basically, in athletes. So know your why, really know your why, dig down deep and pull it out of yourself of why do you want to excel in the sport? Why do you want to play the next level? Or why do you want to become a coach? Because it's hard. It's not an easy job. And you really have to love it to be in it.
I was going to say, I look at all the areas that you're coaching and just talk about time commitment, and you own your own business. And so in my head, you found your why. And I love that you said, I want to be a mentor. I want to be something that you're committed to in your everyday life. And I think I'm just amazed that all the areas that you're involved in and that you do, and you find time to just, I feel, get to know your players or someone you're training. And I think that's important because you're showing that you are that mentor. You're showing that it's important. And I think that will, like you said, for anyone aspiring to be a coach or an athlete wanting to go to the next level, if they have that positive atmosphere that they're in or that coach that really sticks out to them, it makes a big difference. And I know, like for me, it was my high school coach. He was also one of my teachers in middle school, but I had him as a coach. We started in 7th grade as like the JVB team. It's basically just practicing. And they had him through high school. And this is someone I was around for 6 years. And he was hard on us, but he also showed us that, like you said, that you got to have some fun with it, that it's about not just going out there playing soccer every day, but there'd be times when it would rain and he'd come up with a fun game for us to make sure we can enjoy getting muddy and not just like focus on that team bonding in different ways. And I think that's important. And if you want to be that coach that's going to take your place someday, that, hey, I want to be a Beth Kendrick and I want to coach all these teams and be there for other people. You're setting that example for young players right now. And I love that. I think it's so important.
Thank you. It's you definitely have to have the work ethic, the mentality to want to make a difference and to be there and support. It's not easy, but again, I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm in sports and it just doesn't feel like a job to me. So that tells me that I'm doing the right thing, and I'm very blessed and thankful to be able to have the opportunities.
Yeah. So now, before we go into one of our last questions, a big community event that we're talking about, if someone was interested in visiting Kendrick Sports Training and seeing what you offer or asking you questions, what's the best way for them, one, to find Kendrick Sports Training, and second, how can they contact you?
Yeah, so our location is right next to Doogie. It's off Davison Road, right next to Doogie's Pet Supply, and close. Everyone knows VG's, so it's in the VG's Plaza, just to the left a little bit. Very easy to find. We're really active on social media, so follow our Facebook page, follow our stories, and then just reach out. Their phone number is everywhere, posted everywhere on social media, as well as on our website. So our website is kendricksportstraining.com. And then you can reach out by phone or via text. We have a text system that goes to all of us, so it's very handy and helpful. And if we always respond within 24 hours. So there's always a way to get a hold of us. Obviously, holidays or that takes a factor, but we always respond right away if you have any type of questions, for sure.
Perfect. And that's great. And I want people to know too that this training, Kendrick Sports Training, is not just for Davison area. It's for anyone that's in the communities surrounding us. You offer a lot, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely. We have kids that come for us from Midland, from Owasso, from Clarkston, all over the area. And that's what we love to see. We're just an outlet for all sports, all ages, all levels in our surrounding communities. So we welcome everyone.
So the next thing I am excited to also talk about, and this is something the Davison Chamber started talking to you to partner with, because you started this great idea of a women's lunch Wednesday, women's networking in our area. So before we fill in what's going on, I'm really curious, what was your motivation to start organizing networking events for women leaders and women business owners and women in our communities?
Yeah. So, funny story. During my C licensing for soccer, me and one of my good friends, Tara, it was a 6-month program and we had to report to a university to be able to coach and discuss all the education with it. So, one day we were in class, it's us two women and with 50 men. And we were the only women in the whole entire thing. And the director one day called her and I out. He in the middle of class, wasn't on script or anything. And he goes, I have a question for you two. We're okay. And his question was, why don't more women coach? And we looked at each other and I'm like, so I stood up and I answered and I said, because what woman wants to stand up in the middle of 50 men and be called out because of our different gender?
Yeah. Okay.
And he looked at me and he
It's
goes, we were just curious, how can we get more women because there's women's sports? And I said, because you have to have a mental confidence to face 50 men like I'm doing right now, to be called out and explain why we're here. So long story short, that situation made me start thinking, how can I get more support for women's sports? How can I get more support for women-owned businesses in a male-dominated population to where we support each other, we don't feel judged, we don't feel like we have to tell our story of why we're here, and just an atmosphere where we can talk to each other and what's working, what's not working, how can we do this? Do you have any new ideas, without being asked why or how can we get more women to be involved? So I just wanted to create a networking system and an atmosphere where I'm using my gym as a welcome center to all these women in coaching or women in business, women leaders, to be able to discuss and support each other, basically.
I love that. And when I kind of saw that going on, I was amazed because we don't have anything like that in our area. And I know that the chamber board president was Jessica Brown, was able to attend the one you organized and hosted, and she came back and said, "This is amazing." I was like, "We need more stuff like this." And when we started talking with you, you jumped right on board and said, "I would love to keep this going." And we're excited that you're partnering with the chamber and letting us be part of this. And I agree. I look at the chamber world and there are so many female owned businesses
Mm-hmm.
that play a huge role in our community. And we noticed there's a need for it. And so we're excited that on Wednesday, January 31st, there's gonna be a women's lunch Wednesday at Kendrick Sports Training.
Yes. Yep. Super
Yes.
excited.
Yeah. So can you fill us in here? What can they expect? What are they listening to? What's going to go on?
So it's going to be January 31st, and we are welcoming out any women-based leaders in the area that own their own businesses, that maybe play a leader role, or that just wants to be involved in a support system in the world of business or sports or whatever it may be. We're definitely looking for where every meeting we will have speakers come in and you guys can listen to. We're really focused on people in our area to be able to be relatable and support. But we're looking for women that just want to get to know other business owners or other women in business, which would be huge. Our guest speakers for the 31st are Jessica Derby. She's the owner of Blonde's Bottle Service. And then Liz Williams, who is the director of development at United Way, Genesee and Shiawassee counties. So they're bigger level speakers that we want to try to focus on that come from different backgrounds, so we all have a chance to learn and support each other. The meeting on the 31st will be from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch will be provided. The cost is just $10 per person, and all the cost goes to is the Women's Lunch Wednesday Fund, so we can continue to have this throughout the year. But you can go right on either Davison Area Chamber of Commerce Facebook page or Kendrick Sports Training Facebook page and scan the QR code to register. Spots are limited, unfortunately, but we are filling up quickly. So if you want to join, please go and register quickly. But yeah, so just anybody in women in business that are looking to just support and join and listen and be a part, we would love to have.
And I'm amazed. I think this will continue to grow, is what I see, because it's a need in our area. And I think this is going to really influence our community. It's going to not only let us see who all these influential women are in our area, but then they're going to start playing a role as they leave, sharing a message of what's going on, what was being offered. And I'm really excited to hear more about this after January 31st, how it goes. And I know there's more planned for this year from talking with you. But yeah, Beth, I love what you're doing. You are a jack of all trades. You are a coach, a business owner, a female leader in our area. And I think most importantly, you're a mentor to so many. And thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm excited. I know you're getting more involved with the Davison Chamber, and that means a lot to us because you bring a lot to the table. You bring a lot to add to our community, that we're growing as a whole. And I think that adds nothing but good things for our area.
Thank you, Travis. I really appreciate it. And yes, I completely agree. It takes a village. So I am happy to be a part and play a role. I'm very excited for what's to come.
Good. Beth Kendrick, thank you so much for joining us on the Community Collective podcast today.
Thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate it.